double click on Excel, or click on it and click on Connect. Now what I want us to do is I want us to go to the ice thickness geo. All right. And I want us to hit open. And you can see here, there's two tabs, one that says geographic location, one that says sheet 1. Just click on the one that says geographic location. Okay. Then what I want people to do, I'm taking my mouse pointer, I'm coming down to remember the first time we load data, always hit transform data. Loads just loads it straight into Power BI. We don't know what it did to that data. Hit transform data. So it's doing its thing. So let's take a look at what we got. So now we have a city name, okay, ABC. Okay, so here's all our city names. And we can see we have a latitude and a longitude column. And we can see here it says 1.2. That means that it's importing these as a decimal number, okay? So before I move on, can people just give me a thumbs up or give me a yes on the chat? Actually, chat is easier. That I can see that you got to this point. Nice. Look at you guys. All right. So now what we're going to do, let's go and hit close and apply. So you can see it's going to think about it. For those of you with slow machines, we'll wait for a second, but I want to show you something. On the left-hand side, so not the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, if we go across, we had our table called data, but now, look, there's a new one that's appeared called geographic location. I can click on that little downward arrow, and it shows the fields that are there. So all of these fields are now available to be used to build charts. All right, now we'll get onto the whys and wherefores in a minute. I'm going to come along to the left-hand side. I'm going to click on my data view. And you can see here it's defaulted to clicking on the first table. I am now, and if you click on it, you'll see it concertinas up and down. I am now going to click on geographic location. Now, I want to go back and I want to take advantage of contextualizing data again. So what I want everybody to do is just click on the latitude column. Now, some of you with the older version, this data category is going to be under modeling, I'm pretty sure. For those of you with the newer version of Power BI, you should see this thing that says column tools. It says latitude. Under data category that's uncategorized, click on the downward arrow and choose latitude. See, and look to the column title. It's like, okay. And then I click on longitude, do the same for the longitude column. Now, why are we doing this, right? Will the maps work without me doing this? Yes. You guys probably aren't even going to do maps, let's be honest. But what I'm trying to get you into the habit of doing is whenever you can categorize a column, it's always worth spending time doing it because you will reap the benefits further down the line, right? So first time you import a data set, you've got all your columns, you know you need them all. Let's go in and let's actually spend some time categorizing the data. Here's the third thing I want us to do. Let's go to the left hand, and you can see here on the right hand side now my latitude and longitude have got little globes next to them. Actually, what I'm going to do, I didn't realize the first column I'm also going to categorize as city. So now I've got these 3 fields and they are all categorized, all right? And this has some practical benefits that we'll see later on. Now let's go down to our third of our 3 most important buttons, the one that says model. Look what has happened, right? You can move these things around. Try grabbing the tops of them and smoothing them around. Where it says properties here, you can constantine that in and out if you want to. But what it's done is Power BI has joined together these 2 tables, right? Now, has it done it properly? Well, we'll find out. Sometimes it'll have the 2 tables there without this line between them. I will show you how to add that. The first thing I want people to do is just to hover over the line. It should turn yellow, and the 2 fields it's linking together should also turn yellow. Is that happening for everybody? Yep, that's fantastic. Okay. Now, we have the number 1 here, and we have a little star there. This means that this relationship is a one-to-many relationship. And this will become very important. We'll see this over time, over the next couple of days. Because what we've done here is we've built a data model. It's a very simple data model. But for example, if I have 2 tables, let's take the example of prize that we talked about earlier on. If I have a table over here and it's got, it's Phoenix issues, right? So it's got somebody's pride 20 times in there, right? Because there were 20 issues. And I've got another table over here that has the same person's pride repeated 30 times. I now have a many-to-many relationship. It's very difficult to make any sense out of that. What I need to do, and we'll show you this later on, is to create a table in between that just has a unique set of prides. So now I have 2 one-to-many relationships. You can forget that entirely because we'll come back to it. What I'm trying to say is that understanding we have separate tables that are linked together, it is important to understand that the one and the many will have a role to play when we create our data models. Now, we can take a look at this in a little bit more detail. What I want you guys to do now is go over that line and double click on it. And what you will see is an edit relationship box coming up. Now, it's relatively straightforward. It's saying here, this is the top bit here is the one half of the relationship. On the bottom is the other half. So the top is saying I have a table called data, and you can see the column called city is highlighted in gray. So saying the column city is being selected from the table data. Now let's look at the bottom piece. I have now selected the column city from the table geographic location. And let's go down to the very bottom. This word cardinality is just a fancy way of saying how these things are connected. It says, I have connected these in a many-to-one relationship. There's many values of the, you can see here, look, alert, alert. It's repeated 3 times up here, whereas alert only appears once in this table. It's a many-to-one relationship. We're going to come back to this thing called cross-filter direction later on. Okay, so this is how you edit that relationship. I'm just going to hit cancel. All right. Sometimes it'll select the wrong columns or whatever. Did everybody manage to do that? Yep, no, maybe. It is an entity relationship diagram, Cherise, yes. It's in the same way that it is in Microsoft Access. You know what I mean? It's missing some bells and whistles, but it is. So what happens if Power BI imports tables without that connector there? What I want everybody to do is click on the connector, right-click on the connector, and click delete. I want everybody to delete that relationship. Oh no! We've just ruined everything. Our lives have just come to an end. I want to show how easy it is if for some reason a relationship is imported incorrectly, or it just doesn't. Sometimes Power BI just misses it, right? Because it's got lots of text over here, lots of text over here. The column titles might be different, so Power BI just gets confused. I want to show you how to build a relationship. Let's take this table over here. What I want you to do is to click on the word city and hold your left mouse key down. Then I want you to drag it across over the word city on the data table. Kapow. Then what I want you to do is just double click on the line just to double check that everything's lined up. I'm going to show you that again, but I'm going to connect it to the wrong thing. So I'm now going to connect city. I'm going to drag it over method of observation. Look, it'll still do it, right? Because at this point in time, it doesn't know your data. It's just going, well, there's things in city, there's things in method of observation. You know, fine, it's entirely up to you. So you can, especially when these things start getting small like this, right? It's easy to drag the wrong thing onto the wrong thing. I'm just holding the control key down there and I'm using my zoom mouse button to scroll in and out. So if I want to fix it, it's easy. I'm going to double click on my line, and where I have, see method of observation over here is highlighted. Instead, I'm just going to click on city. This is already selected as city. I'm going to hit OK. And now we can see I've just fixed that problem. Can I see some yeses or nos in the comments? Did we actually manage to not just get the relationship, but did we manage to delete it and then recreate it? Very, very, very cool. All right, so we're going to create a chart. And we're going to create a chart that you guys will probably never do again, but we're going to do it because it's fun. Let's go on our left-hand side and let's scroll up here to our report tab. All right. What I'm going to do to get a little bit more real estate is my filter tab here. I'm just going to collapse that down. I'm not going to use that for now. You can just see it makes this screen a little bit bigger. So rather than just start off with a boring chart or a line chart, let's start off with a map. We have latitudes and longitudes. Let's go crazy. So what I want us to do is let's take our mouse and let's go over to where it says visualizations, and let's come down and you will see a icon that looks like a globe. And when you hover over it, it says map. All right, there's one next to it that says filled map. Don't click on that. Just hover over the one that says map and then click on it. And now what happens when you click on something, that thing appears. Okay? And you can move this thing around. This is going to be our map. I can make it bigger. So just spend a couple of seconds making it look something along these lines. All right, so I'm going to do a thing now, and I always get it wrong. I can't remember if you put latitudes and longitudes on first or cities on first. I always get it wrong, so let's get it right. Also notice I can click off the map. Oops, hang on, I double-clicked there when I shouldn't have done. All right, notice now there's nowhere to add values. I need to physically click on my map element, and now it's asking me for a whole bunch of stuff. Well, location. Well, all right. I am going to take city, but I'm going to take city not from this bottom table here. I'm going to take city from the top up here. All right. So all I want you to do is click on city and drag it to where it says location. Now, you need to be connected to the internet for this. Well, you obviously are. Go on, crazy, you're on Zoom. Look what's happened here. The map has come up. And look at this little guy down here, Eureka. There is a Eureka up north in Nunavut, but it thinks that this is a city in the US. So this is why we have latitudes and longitudes. So I'm going to drag my latitude across to latitude. I'm going to drag my longitude across to longitude. And now you might need to zoom out a little bit on the map. I had to click on my map. I'm just zooming out. We can now see. Oh, I've only got one. So that's completely screwed up. Yellow knife. Why is it doing that? Dun, dun, dun. I'm going to do that again. I'm this time going to just drag across latitude and longitude. Latitude and longitude. There we go. That's better behaved. I didn't put the city in. Now we can see that it's located all of the cities in their right places. Okay. Now let's try something. I want to make the size of these circles dependent on a variable, right? It might be how much money I'm going to spend somewhere. But let's not do that. I know. The thing about Charisse is that maps in Power BI don't actually work that well. That's the dirty secret. You have to remember the order of putting the data in, and my memory's so bad I never remember it. So anyhow, just use latitude and longitude and you're fine. Let's take ice thickness, and you see here where it says size. Let's drag ice thickness onto size. Kapow. And now look at that. We now have the size of the circle is how much ice accumulated in that place over the period of the data set. I want to show you one thing here. You see this ice thickness, this little downward arrow? Click on that little downward arrow. At the moment, it's defaulting to sum. I want this to look at the average ice thickness. So let's click on average. And we can see that the average ice thickness has changed. Again, we're just playing around here. All I want you to do is just to see that I can click and look. I'm using ice thickness from one table and latitude and longitude from a separate table, and I can do that because they're connected together with this record called city. All right, that's quite exciting. Give us some yeses or nos. With the acknowledged issues that Power BI has creating maps, did we manage to create something that looks like this? Nice. Okay, so now let's do something, right? Let's just go crazy by clicking stuff. Let's all click on a stacked bar chart. All right, so let's just click on that. Actually, first thing to do is if you're clicked on something and then you click on another visualization, it's going to change that visualization. So what you need to do, oops, I'm losing the zoom, is you need to click on the back page. So you've clicked off the visualization before you click on the new one. So let's click on stacked bar chart. Now you can see it's overlapping it, so let's move stuff around. So let's drag this down here. Now I want to look at the ice thickness by surface code, all right? So you can see here now that I have different inputs. I've now got axis, legend, and values and tooltips, okay? We're just going to look at axis and values. So what I'm going to do now is, and you can do something different if you want to, but I'm going to take surface code, I'm going to drag it onto axis, and now I'm going to take ice thickness, I'm going to drag that onto values, and I'm going to change this to average. All right. So this is the different types of things now. Okay, now this may or may not be exciting, but here's an exciting bit. Let's click on any one of these. I'm going to click on the first one. Bang! Let's click on the second. Let's click on the third. This is now allowing me to interact from one chart to another chart. Let's click on a city. I'm going to click on my city here. Now I can see how it changes the chart on the left-hand side, right? So we, by default in Power BI, get full interactivity in our charts. Can I get some chats? Can you show me or tell me that, and it doesn't matter, I don't care what the second chart is, but I just want to see that you got a map, you got a second chart up, and you're able to go clicky, clicky, and things actually happen. It is good, isn't it, Erin? You just spent hours, I just go back and forth between charts. Do we have to be in the same page? For now, yes, Sarah, we do have to be in the same page. We will look at ways of doing this over multiple pages, but for now, it's just all on the same page. I know, Laura, it's great, isn't it? So just think how powerful this is. Let's say now, I don't want surface code. I want to look at water feature instead. So see where my axis is. I'm going to take this little cross by axis. I'm going to take that off. I'm going to drag in water feature instead. Now, here are my water features. All right, now I'm doing exactly the same thing, really quick, right? Let's take a look at, let's make this really messy. I'm gonna make my map a bit smaller. I'm gonna make this a bit bigger. All right, so now I've got water feature, method of observation. I'm gonna drag that onto legend. So now this is splitting me out. Now I can click on individual bits of these charts. And look, for individual bits of these charts, it's giving me what I want. Let's click on, you know what I mean? I mean, we could go on forever, right? I mean, you know, I'm going to take it off. I don't like that one, so I'm going to take that off. But I just wanted to get to the point that think about what we have just done, all right? And tomorrow we're going to do this. We're going to start off tomorrow by basically replicating this, but we're going to do it using that accounting data set, right? So we're going to take it, we're going to import 3 tabs, not just one. We're going to import the cross-reference from the departmental numbers, and we're going to start creating charts like this. We're not going to do any DAX straight away. We're just going to drag and drop. That's it. But we're going to connect the data together. But think about what we've done. We've gone from absolutely nothing to importing multiple data sets, connecting the data sets together, and creating interactive visualizations, right? We've done that in less than 2 hours, including a break, right? This is why, you know, now I hardly ever use Excel. For some power pivot stuff, I will. And there's some very specific charts where Excel is still better. But honestly, all my analysis now I'll do in Power BI or some other tools. I just use Excel as my data source.